The president is clear on his instructions for us not to accept anyone that wants to disrupt the peace and tranquility of Nigeria.
President Tinubu presides over security meeting as protest enters day 5 in some parts of the country.
We are making our passionate appeal to please ensure that this road construction will be completed.
Life returns to abandoned road projects with more communities calling for the restart of terminated road contracts. Plus, how has the renewed hope agenda fared? Correspondents review some sectors. Hello, it's great to have you join us on the Network News on NTA. It's a full house tonight with me, Naja'atu Tijani, and Victor Azu, who will be giving us data analysis. Victor, what's happening with data, with issuance of passports?
Well, it's going well. We are finding that more people are applying for passports now, and I hope we'll find out later on in the news.
Yes, Nigerians are looking forward to the details. And Ayo, Deji Makinde has sports highlights. Ayo, what can we expect after our basketball victory?
Well, it's getting brighter for Team Nigeria. Blessing Oborodudu is about now taking on our opponents in the semi-final, while also Favor Ofili is through to the final of the 200 meters women event.
Well, we also look forward to those details later. And also tonight from Lagos, Hingino John Adams, and right here in Abuja, Musa Abubakar with business news. Remember that this broadcast is also being streamed live on our website, nta.ng/live, our YouTube channel, NTA News, and do follow us across all social media platforms with our handles displayed on the screen. And now the news. President Tinubu has directed security agencies to remain resolute and stand against any individual or group of persons trying to undermine the sovereignty of Nigeria. This was at an emergency security meeting held at the State House. Correspondent Musbau Nanwahab reports.
Yes, the service chiefs and other heads of security agencies arrived State House this Monday afternoon, barely 2 weeks after an earlier routine meeting with Mr. President. The President actually suspended the Federal Executive Council meeting slated for this Monday earlier for something that apparently appears more pressing. And the meeting lasted for more than 2 hours behind closed doors with Mr. President and as well as the Vice President Kashim Shettima. And after the meeting, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, briefed State House correspondent talking about what transpired behind closed doors, and it was basically to appraise the security situation in the country going by the protest, the nationwide protest in town. Another issue that came up prominently was the issue of some Nigerians in parts of the country, particularly in Kano and Kaduna, flying another foreign flag in the country, which these Security Council condemned totally. Let's take a listen to the Chief of Defense Staff.
For those of them flying flags, if you see a lot of them are kids being pushed to do that. We're following up with those ones that are sponsoring them, those that are pushing them, because you know the flags were also made. We identified those areas and we're going to take serious action against that. The president is clear on his instructions for us not to accept anyone that wants to disrupt the peace and tranquility of Nigeria. And we are all standing here together to show Nigerians that we're working closely, we're working together in synergy to ensure that there's peace and tranquility in Nigeria. That we have assured Mr. President.
And again, the armed forces and other heads of security agencies also reaffirmed their commitment to democratic rule in the country, as General Christopher Musa told State House correspondents.
Also the issue of coups. Nigeria is a sovereign nation. Nigeria is a democratic nation. All security agencies are here to defend democracy and make sure that democracy continues to strive. We will not accept anyone pushing or taking any action, seemingly or for whatever reason, to want to push for any change of government. Democracy is what we stand for. Democracy is what we continue to defend.
And also, the Chief of Defense Staff also affirmed the readiness of the military to be there as a backup in case of any breakdown of law and order by those protesting across the country to support the Nigeria Police Force.
Actually, Musbah now Wahab, the military and of course joint security operatives are calling for peace. It's day 5 of the nationwide protest and a day after the president's address calling for dialogue. NTA's defense desk reports that key operatives at a joint security meeting have re-echoed this call for dialogue, urging protesters to sheath swords and use words to build bridges of peace. A convergence of information managers from different security agencies highlighting the nationwide protests.
We cannot afford to have an experience what we experienced during the last violent EndSARS in 2020. Up to now, many are still in pain, and we cannot allow such a thing to repeat itself.
Going to do protests, violent or peaceful ones, in the circumstance of our country is not the best way to register our grievances.
We will continue to be a stability force as we seek to bring stability in any area of our country where it is needed. I will encourage those behind this protest, if indeed they have the goodwill and interest of this country, to take the option of dialogue and let us resolve the challenges and let us move forward.
They stress that security will focus on ensuring community-oriented response to emergencies. Meanwhile, the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPS, Kuru, is using social media to engage youths in inclusive and constructive dialogue on urgent national issues. The Institute's engagement will include young people, students, women, civil societies, public servants, government officials, and other stakeholders to serve as an objective platform to galvanize all ideas for progress and serve as an opportunity for the free expression of different opinions, demands, and expectations from government, and to ensure that all voices are heard, no matter the perspectives. The engagements will be in 3 sessions, beginning on Wednesday, 7th August 2024. And back to the protest, the 5th day of the ongoing nationwide protest has witnessed a low turnout in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Joseph Otsen, who has been monitoring the situation, reports that a handful of protesters showed up at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, while other strategic places in Abuja remained calm.
From the first day of the 10 days nationwide protest, the number of protesters have continued to reduce. At the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, a handful of protesters came out and were granted access only inside the National Stadium to prevent traffic congestion on the Federal Highway. Following President Bola Tinubu's broadcast to the nation where he explained efforts made by the federal government to address concerns of citizens and calling on the agitators to embrace more dialogue, some organizers of the protest addressed the media, saying they would give government another chance for dialogue. And with little to show at the National Stadium, the journalists take their leave. Meanwhile, the Eagle Square, Secretariat, and the Unity Fountain were all calm. There were no incidents of any protests at any of these strategic places. In Abuja, Joseph Otsen, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Kaduna State Governor Uba Sani has imposed a 24-hour curfew on Kaduna, Zaria and environs. The decision follows a review of the security situation in the state, which revealed that the ongoing protests have been hijacked by criminal elements engaging in looting and destruction of private and public property. In a statement on Monday, the Overseeing Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Aruan, advised citizens to remain indoors while security forces work to maintain safety and security. And following the security situation and destruction of property in Azare town in Katagum local government area of Bauchi State, Governor Bala Muhammad has imposed a 24-hour curfew in the town with immediate effect. A statement by the Secretary to the State Government, Ibrahim Muhammad Kashim, urges security agencies to arrest hoodlums, enforce the curfew and restore law and order. Meanwhile, in the ancient city of Kano, peace is gradually prevailing in the aftermath of violent protests which led to imposition of curfew by the state government. Fatima Sunusi Arai reports that business and other commercial activities are yet to fully pick up, even as the 24-hour curfew has been relaxed from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m.
The ever-busy Kano city is now a shadow of itself on account of absence of heavy vehicular movement and human activities, largely due to the fragile peace in the state. A visit to the famous vegetable market at Enkaba in the metropolis reveals a sense of urgency, with people hastily stocking up on essentials before the 2 p.m. curfew deadline.
I came out at 8 a.m. and I'll be going back home at 2 p.m. All we want is to get everything back to normal.
For now, the 6-hour window of curfew relaxation from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. offers a glimmer of respite. However, the state government remains vigilant, closely monitoring the security landscape and poised to make further decisions on the curfew as needed. The city holds its breath, waiting for a return to normalcy. In Kano, Fatima Sanusi Arai, NTA News.
Still on business, many bustling banks in Abuja metropolis did not open for business today, Monday. Bosede Abel Amosu reports that the closure is a direct response to the ongoing protests across the nation.
A visit to several banks revealed closed doors, barricaded entrances, and security officers standing guard, refusing to let customers in. A banker who spoke off camera revealed that the decision to shut down operations was a precautionary measures aimed at ensuring the safety of staff and customers until normalcy returns.
Their staffs are not available, it's only the security men that are here, so there's nobody to attend to customers inside.
The banks are not really working. I've been here for like 30 minutes trying to see if I can do the transfer because I needed this money very, very urgent to do something important. But they said they are not working. What can we do?
This is the transaction I've been praying for since, and now it's here. Just for me to do a transfer, I'm not able to. It's very frustrating.
The banking shutdown has added to the growing list of disruptions caused by the protest, although normalcy is gradually returning to businesses. In Abuja, Bosede Abel Amosu, NTA News.
Social media users would have seen some people waving the Russian flag. Well, the Russian embassy in Nigeria has exonerated itself from the alleged display of the nation's flag by some demonstrators in Nigeria. The embassy, in a statement, says the government of the Russian Federation, as well as any Russian officials, are not involved in these activities and do not coordinate them in any way. The statement emphasizes that Russia does not interfere in the domestic affairs of foreign states, including Nigeria. The embassy says Russia respects Nigerian democracy and believes that peaceful demonstrations in conformity with Nigerian law are a manifestation of democracy. It further declares that the intentions of some protesters to wave Russian flags is the personal choice of some individuals and does not reflect any official position or policy of the Russian government on the issue. The federal government has urged Nigerians traveling to the United Kingdom to be extra vigilant following recent protests by far-right groups in parts of the UK. A statement by spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Eche Abu Obi, advises Nigerians to abide by guidelines issued by UK authorities and avoid political processions and rallies. Nigerians are advised to contact the High Commission in the UK and to follow the latest updates via hc@nigeriahc.org.uk or telephone +44 207 839 1244. The statement, however, says this advisory remains under review. This is the network news on NTA. Still to come, ECOWAS Parliament recommends effective regulations on plastic waste as delocalized meeting ends in Ghana. Details and more after the break. Stay with NTA. You're just in time for news from the energy sector. Despite being blessed with oil and gas, Nigeria has for decades depended on oil-based petrol, neglecting its enormous gas resources which can power the economy. While the country was using its hard-earned foreign exchange to pay for and subsidize petrol, President Bola Tinubu came on board with a resolve to change the narrative and deepen gas utilization. Lydia Sampson has the details.
Determined to address visible gaps and challenges in the oil and gas sector, President Bola Tinubu took a painful but necessary decision to remove fuel subsidy, which key players have applauded as saving the country from imminent economic collapse. Determined to address envisaged difficulties that came with fuel subsidy removal, the president immediately launched compressed natural gas initiative to power transportation economy and bring down cost of transportation and production. This will save over 2 trillion naira a month being used to import petroleum and diesel, as well as free up much needed resources for more investment in healthcare and education. The presidential initiative on compressed natural gas has since hit the ground running.
We've identified 123 conversions workshops. Our goal, if you remember when we launched this last year, was that we should have 100 by the end of this year. But just in the month of July, we've already identified 123. And our goal ultimately is to have between 1,000 and 2,000 of them operational in country by the year 2027.
When this conversion is done, not only transportation of people that will come down by about 50%, but even the cost of food will come down considerably.
If things works as it is, I believe the cost of transportation will reduce.
We at Bolt, we see this as an opportunity to offer some relief to the people of Nigeria in terms of transportation.
Some commercial motorists are already testifying about the game-changing impact of CNG.
I've been using CNG for 5 months now, and the experience has been wonderful.
I would expect that the government ensures that there is full implementation of the PIA, and full implementation meaning that the market forces will determine the cost of petroleum products.
This is the dream of Mr. President. His consistent statement is that we must make this available to Nigeria, and this dream is becoming true. We'll construct all the mother stations across the 6 geopolitical zones, already work in progress.
Mr. President has made it very clear that gas is the transition fuel. We are sure that there are so many ailing industries in the country will come to limelight.
Similarly, the country has increased oil production to 1.61 million barrels per day, and the nation's gas assets are receiving the attention they deserve. Investors are coming back to Nigeria, with 2 foreign direct investments signed for over $500 million since then. Industry players are unanimous that the oil and gas industry is on track, and the president's laudable reforms will continue to make Nigeria an oil and gas hub in Africa. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
And now we're talking. The House of Representatives has dissolved its joint downstream and midstream committee investigating the importation of adulterated petroleum products into the country. Part of the mandate of the ad hoc committee constituted by the House on 9th July 2024 was to investigate non-availability of crude oil for domestic refineries, the resurgence of fuel queues and other critical energy security issues. Announcing the dissolution dissolution of the committee, House spokesman Akin Rotimi said a new one would be constituted to guarantee the independence of the investigation. Integrity, competence and expertise will be among the criteria which the House leadership will consider for membership of a new ad hoc committee to be constituted with a similar mandate. Away from energy to data analysis, Nigerians apply for their passports for various reasons, and Victor Azu is going to tell us a bit about this, some of these reasons, and then of course we'll be looking at the figures. Victor, let's start with the statistics. What numbers are we looking at?
Well, like I hinted earlier, we find that more people are applying for passports, and like in 2023, we've had 2.1 million passports processed by the Nigerian Immigration Service, which trumps what we had in 2021 and 2022. In 2021, of course, we had 1,033,506, and in 2022, we had more than 1.5 million. And so in 2023, having passports processed in excess of 2.1 million shows a trend that through the last 3 years or so, more people are beginning to process their passports, and this coincides with the exodus of a lot of people from the country. Of course, they call it Japa.
Let me cut in there, sorry. First, before we talk about Japa, who are those collecting, who are those applying more? Is it the males or the females?
Well, the records suggest that more males apply, at least in 2023. You had about 1,126,000 people processed, talking about males, and females below 1 million, which gives a sense that more males are making the trips than the females.
So yes, I was going to ask about that. Could it be that the breadwinners, so to speak, are searching for greener pastures? Does it really have anything to do with the Japa syndrome?
Well, you can't say specifically that it has to do with the Japa syndrome, but there is a coincidence within this period that a lot of people are talking about Japa, that you are having more people process passports, and the Nigerian Immigration Service getting thronged for passports. So there is a coincidence, but I can't say for sure if it has to do with it.
So briefly, Victor, about the process, how easy is it to get one's passport? Now, we've seen that the figures have greatly increased. I mean, talking about 1.3 in 2021 and now 2.1 million, in 2023. How easy is the process?
Well, the process, I can say, is better now. In time past, if you know somebody, well, it may be easier for you to process, and then the others can have their fate in their own hands. They don't know what to do exactly. But these days, you can sit in the comfort of your own home, apply for passports, and go on the appointed date, because by the time you are making your payment online, you are applying, you are paying, you are picking a date for capturing. And on that day, you get captured and the production goes ahead. It's a bit more ordered at this time, and the Minister of Interior, who is driving the process, of course, with support from the Comptroller General of Immigration, assures that it can only get better. But the good thing is that now you can just sit in the comfort of your home, apply, make payment, and pick a date for capturing, and then proceed on the set date and get captured, and then you take it from there.
So there's no need to cut corners, no need to know anybody, no need for any, clamoring, no need to panic.
At the moment, not quite.
All right then. Thank you very much, Victor Azu. We look forward to more updates. Incidentally, NTA awarded Victor Azu for this issue of passport issuance. He was given the best reporter for the year. Thank you, Victor, for joining us.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Now, away from passport issuance, following non-performance, some road contracts have been terminated, while many others are under review. This has brought to life many abandoned road projects. However, the call for restarting road projects, especially in areas under security threat, is becoming louder. Abdullahi Mohammed tells us why.
Blocks are falling down and the contractors are playing in okay.
The ugly scenarios and the urge to make road transport a lot easier for the common man was behind the move to terminate non-performing road projects across the country. But this hammer did not spare projects in areas under security threats, and the people are counting difficult days.
It's one of the roads that links the frontline local governments of insecurity in this state. Most especially here in Kankara, it's one of the endemic areas of insecurity. So we are appealing to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to please ensure that we are making our passionate appeal to please ensure that this road construction will be completed.
Along this road, from Maraba Kankara to Katsina, there have been so much banditry. So we want the federal government to take a serious action.
Kankara Dusama Roads in Katsina State crisscrosses about 7 local government areas to Niger Republic. In Abuja, Abdullahi Mohammed, NTA News.
We're talking conservation next, and the ECOWAS Parliament is recommending member states to adopt regulations on plastic product harmonization for the region to have a plastic-free environment. This is contained in a draft report adopted by the Committee on Agriculture, Environment and Natural Resources at the end of a delocalized meeting in Winneba, Ghana. ECOWAS Parliament correspondent Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports.
The week of knowledge sharing described by committee members as fruitful. It is now time for action to address the problem of indiscriminate use and dumping of plastic waste. Members recommend sensitization as key to unlock numerous benefits associated with. These include job creation, enhanced public health, and serene environment.
The various stakeholders and experts have provided us with practical insight and inspiration to adopt in the different member states of ECOWAS and scale these initiatives within our respective communities.
Prior to this, a town hall meeting was organized by ECOWAS Parliament in Winneba and engaged stakeholders on how best to tackle the challenges posed by plastic waste.
An example of devastating impact that plastic waste has is on fishery, aquaculture, and tourism, especially in the coastal community where many people live.
Take your time to put a separate container where anything that you use or you see as a waste in the family, you put it in that container, so that you will have plastic, you will have other forms of waste separately.
Members believe that the earlier the region encourages citizens in turning waste to opportunities, the better. Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
It's time to join Hingino in Lagos for more reports. Hingino, nice to see you. What's happening in Lagos? What's happening in Lagos?
Nice to see you too. Lagos is peaceful. Business activities with human and vehicular movements are gradually getting to the peak as against the first and second days of the nationwide protest. Diana Ajale, who went round town, tells us more.
By God's grace, our children will be proud of us.
It is day 5 of the ongoing nationwide protests, and Lagos, a commercial hub, has continued to be peaceful without casualties or looting of business premises since the protests began the 1st of August. Vehicular movement is on the increase, with many shops, banks, offices all open to the public. A stop at the Lekki toll gate, one of the unauthorized flashpoints for protests, remains a no-go area for protesters as security personnel are present to ensure there is no breakdown of law and order by protesters. Police Public Relations Officer, Lagos State Command, Benjamin Hunde gives more updates on the protest.
There's been no major confrontation. There's been no violence, but some people were arrested, and the Commissioner of Police has stepped in. All arrested persons have been released, and the police officers are still very much on ground to ensure that the peace that is being enjoyed there is maintained. The court orders recognizes August 1 to 10, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And we also understand that there are different groups. There is no single group doing this protest. So if some groups say they want to back out, and some other groups say they still want to continue, we guarantee maximum security till the 10th and beyond.
It will be recorded that President Bola Tinubu on Sunday called on organizers to suspend the nationwide protests and give way for dialogue for the good of the nation. Many Nigerians are, however, hopeful of a speedy resolution while praying for normalcy to return across the country. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
Adequate legal framework, implementation of laws, and increased road safety public enlightenment have been identified as major factors of reducing carnage on Nigerian roads. These experts say, if well applied, will save the motoring public lots of hassles. Diana Ajale again reports.
Safety on the road is considered a shared responsibility to securing lives and property. This agenda is what the Federal Road Safety Corps has been working to actualize as its core mandate. Apart from speed, which is identified to constitute about 70% of road crashes and avoidable deaths in Nigeria, experts say willful disregard for guiding laws on the part of road users remains an issue.
The laws are there. The implementation is the problem. And we have enough resources to be released to both the judiciary, the Federal Road Safety Management, to be able to perform their duties.
Corps Marshal Federal Road Safety Corps says government has been making efforts in the construction and rehabilitation of motorable roads across the country to reduce road crashes. But more worrisome is the attitude of some drivers.
What is giving us crashes is this articulated and trucks that use mixed load and passengers, especially coming from the north down to the south. Because when crashes occur, it's usually fatal. Loss of so many lives. So we instituted a joint task force to make sure that we apprehend those trucks and trailers.
As the agency continues to intensify its public enlightenment campaigns to educate more drivers on road safety cultures, the FRSC boss, however, appealed to motorists to always apply caution and obey road traffic rules. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
That's it from Lagos. Network News will continue after this break.
You're just in time for business news with Musa Abubakar. Musa, what's happening in the world of business?
Well, so much, most especially stocks. Stocks are not seeing a good day today. Well, let's delve into it. Economic observers have welcomed reforms carried out by the federal government to turn around the economy. These reforms were disclosed by the president when he addressed the country on Sunday. While acknowledging the unintended consequences of the removal of fuel subsidy, Yusuf Aliu, an economist, suggests that more needs to be done to address inflation and energy security in the country.
What will solve the problem is cheaper food that people can afford to buy. This can stabilize and sustain the economy. And at the same time, also there is need for us to understand that this food security has to do with environmental security. We must secure our land, we must secure our road, and we must secure our own investment. Calling investors to come and invest.
At the capital market, most stocks closed lower amid global downturn as volatility index spikes to COVID-era high. The equities market in Nigeria was not an exception as the all-share index fell to 97,582.41 points. At the end of the first weekday of trading on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, a total of 324 million shares in 9,738 deals, corresponding to a market value of 6.2 billion naira, were traded. Today's data shows 54% improvement in volume, 57% improvement in turnover, and 47% improvement in deals. Market capitalization fell to 55.4 trillion naira. Well, that's business news. The news continues after the break.
Education in this present time and age should go hand in hand with the teaching of morals, virtues, and sound religious values, which will groom children to be disciplined, patriotic, and good citizens, say participants of the graduation on the journey of faith conducted by the National Council for Women's Societies in Abuja. Momso Damian Dati reports.
Education, religious or Western, has the purpose of acquisition of knowledge and enlightenment to do things differently and impact on one's society positively.
I still have a lot awaiting for me, but still I'm very happy. Work hard and never give up.
Reason why the National Council for Women's Societies, in collaboration with some educationists, are advocating for a solution-based learning where children are taught to proffer practical solutions to evolving challenges.
The pursuit of knowledge is seen as a way to better understanding the world, improve oneself and fulfill one's responsibility.
Catching them young. And when you catch young, you instill your principles into them.
But with the help of the school, she was able to put her words together. Their spoken English is very good. She's even writing a book.
The school has properly prepared her for the future ahead.
For these stakeholders, it is essential to arouse in young children interest in new discoveries while instrumentalizing knowledge with updated paradigms. Momso Damian Dati, NTA News.
Mali cuts diplomatic ties with Ukraine just as U.S. troops complete withdrawal from Niger Republic. Details and more on Global Update with Chukunonso Mwabwezi.
D'éléments des forces de défense et de sécurité maliennes.
Mali said it has cut diplomatic ties with Ukraine. Government spokesman Colonel Abdoulaye Meiga, who disclosed this in a national television, said the decision, which is with immediate effect, was necessitated by an alleged role of Kiev in a heavy defeat suffered by Malian troops in July, with dozens of casualties, including members of the Russian mercenary group Wagner. And the United States military Monday completed its withdrawal from Air Base 201 in Niger. In a joint statement, Niger's defense ministry and the U.S. military said personnel and equipment from the base had been withdrawn and coordination will continue over the coming weeks. Niger's junta had given the U.S. until September 15 this year to remove troops from its territory. Meanwhile, Bangladesh Army Chief General Waqar Uz-Zamani, in a broadcast to the nation on Monday, said Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina had resigned and that the military would form an interim government, and called for a stop of the ongoing violent protests that led to the resignation of Hasina. Hasina, 76, had sought since early July to quell nationwide protests against her government, but she fled after a brutal day of unrest on Sunday, in which nearly 100 people were killed. Chukunonso Mwabwezi, NTA News.
And now in the moment, sports lovers have been waiting for highlights of the Olympics and other sports highlights with Ayo Deji Makinde. Ayo, I want to know, any hopes for a medal for us? So many of us had our hopes on blessing, so what's happening in that regard?
Well, as it is right now, she won't be able to successfully defend her title by winning a silver medal, which she did in 2020. But there's still a chance for her to get a bronze medal.
Okay.
You're welcome. Let's start by telling you that Blessing Oborududu will compete in the bronze medal match after she lost the women's 68-kilogram semi-final 3-1 against Miriam Zumanazarova of Kyrgyzstan. The 35-year-old silver medalist from the Tokyo Olympics had earlier floored Linda Moray of Canada 8-2 before a show of class against home favorite Kumba Leroc of France in the quarter-final. Oborodudu, who became the first female wrestler to win a medal for Nigeria at the Games, will now settle for the bronze medal fight on Tuesday evening.
Now can she come up? Can she gain the advantage? Can she get round the back?
The leg is locked in, the left leg from Oborodudu. She is knowing that this is her last moment, but seeing off, watching the clock is Miriam Zumanazarova, and she has contested this one right down to the wire and herself celebrates. The Olympic bronze medalist from Tokyo is going to go one better. The Kyrgyzstan dream remains alive in this Olympic Games. Zumanazarova, as she has beaten Nigeria's blessing. Oborodudu.
Of course, there's still a bronze there to grab. But there are still more hopes for Team Nigeria as Favour Ofili is through to the final of the women's 200 meters event, becoming the first woman to achieve the feat since Mary Onyali 28 years ago at the 1996 Atlanta Games. She finished second with a American Florence Griffith-Joyner holds the world record of 21.32 seconds, which she set at the 1988 Seoul Olympics. Away from the Olympic Games, former Super Eagles forward and assistant coach Emmanuel Amunike has been appointed head coach of Heartland FC of Owerri. Imo State's Governor Hope Uzodinma unveiled the 2015 FIFA Under-17 World Cup winning coach, whose last job was at Egypt's Meselel Makassar in 2021. Heartland FC, who were relegated last season from the Nigeria Premier Football League, are back, having bought over the rights of Beyond Limits FC, who gained top flight promotion from the Nigerian National League. And that's your sports. It's back to Naja.
Well, thank you, Ayo Deji. It seems women are leading in the Olympics. Yes. Well, that's nice to know. And that concludes the network news tonight. Thank you for staying with us in the bulletin. I'm Naja Atutejani.